I love to go to Texas Roadhouse. Get a ribeye steak, baked potato, salad. I love to go to Texas Roadhouse. But I don't go on my birthday. Because on your birthday, if you go to Texas Roadhouse, they put you on a saddle. They put a cowboy hat on your head, and everybody yells, the help invites everybody in the restaurant to say, let's wish Tom a happy birthday by a yeehaw, and everybody goes, yeehaw! I hate that. Another place I like to eat, as long as we're talking about eating, is a place called MCL Cafeteria. And I love to go there and get the roast beef and the Jell-O mold. I like the Jell-O mold with the peaches in it. I usually get some in my shirt, but I love that. I love that. And when I take my beautiful bride with me to MCL Cafeteria, she gets liver and onions, and I hate liver and onions. There isn't enough ketchup on the face of this earth to eat liver and onions. I love to go on long rides with Debbie. We enjoy ride. In fact, many of you may know, we started out a ride one time and ended up in Vermont. We like to ride. I love to ride. I love to go on rides. I hate when they end up at garage sales. Now, I know some of you might be ready to form an advisory committee back there after the service to tell me, Pastor, hate seems like such a strong word. Remember when you were a kid and you'd say an off-color word that you found in the Bible? And you'd repeat it over and over and over again. When your mother would say, don't say that, you'd say, well, it's in the Bible. Hear what happens in Luke chapter 14. Large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them, he said, if anyone comes and does not, ready for this, hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such a person cannot be a disciple, cannot be a follower of him. And whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. Wow. Hate is in the Bible. I don't get that. You get that? It's like, Jesus, what's going on here? You're always love, 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 love. And now you're telling us to hate. See, he wants us to follow him. And if we follow him, yes, the pattern will be a pattern of love. But if you follow Jesus, if you truly are serious about following Jesus, plan on it not being always easy. Not being always easy. See, if we all got serious about it, maybe things would be a little bit different. If we followed him, perhaps the world would not live under the guise of nominal Christianity, not taking it seriously. Now, what Jesus is really kind of asking us is, where are you in all this? Do you take it seriously? He's not really telling you to hate. He's just telling you, where are your priorities? Where are your priorities? And when he talks about relationships, are your relationships with family? with friends, with neighbors? Are they all under the arch of being a follower of Jesus Christ, or is being a follower of Jesus Christ just something that's kind of on the same list? Jesus is asking us, quite frankly, to put him first. To put him first. And in doing so, he's actually offering us a gift. Remember in Luke, also in the Gospel of Luke, Jesus asked people to follow him, and they say, well, I'll follow you, but first. But first, remember, I need to go bury my father, it says. Well, that's, of course, we want to have a memorial service for a loved one, but this is like a story of a guy that hasn't even, his father's fine. He just doesn't want to go till he needs an excuse. He needs an excuse. And Jesus says, anyone who puts their hand to the plow, using analogy of a farmer, when you put your hand to the plow, you got to be able to move in a straight line. I'm amazed nowadays, you don't put your hand to the plow, you have the GPS guide you. But in the midst of all that, you follow that, or else you have some messy crops. Jesus is saying, if you want to be fruitful, if you want to put your faith to grow, then you in fact need to follow him first and take that seriously. So, how does following Jesus impact all your other relationships? How does following Jesus impact all your other relationships? And again, you'll get your homework right now, so you know what it is this week to ask that, to say to Jesus, Jesus, I will follow you. But first, and fill in your blank. Fill in your blank. What is it that you would say to Jesus? And believe me, I could, this preacher's that way too, is, but first I need to. And please understand, if you follow Jesus, it doesn't mean your family life's going to be perfect, but your family life will be defined for you on how you're following him, which is not easy. Your friendships will be defined by following him. Your relationships will be defined by following him. Your finances will be defined by following him. Your ethics will be defined by following him. The decision is costly. It's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you something to say, Jesus, I really want to follow you. Jesus goes on in the same passage to say this, is there anyone here who is planning to build a new house, doesn't first sit down and figure out the costs so that you'll know if you can complete it? If you only get the foundation laid and then run out of money, you're going to look pretty foolish. Everyone passing by will poke fun of you. He started something he couldn't finish. If you follow Jesus, you better be willing to start something and finish it. Start something and finish it. You got to count the cost. And in a way, what Jesus is talking about here is to have the spiritual resources in order to be able to follow him. If you're going to follow him, you better spend some time in contemplation about what that means. Spend some time alone with him. I would suggest that you don't just run out and say, I'm going out this door because the pastor told me to follow Jesus. I'm going to follow him wherever he goes, without building some sort of foundation that comes with prayer and spending time alone with God. Jesus goes on to say, or can you imagine a king going into a battle against another king without first deciding whatever it is possible with his 10,000 troops to face 20,000 troops of the other? And if he decides he can't, won't he send an emissary to work out the truce? If you decide to follow Jesus and you're serious about it, it means that you're going to face some adversaries. You're going to face folks that are going to look at worldly ways of looking at things that all sometimes are around anger and meanness toward other people. And it's so easy to buy into that. But Jesus says, follow, even though it might be difficult. Even though it might be difficult. At the end, we're not asking you to hate anything or anybody. What we're asking you to do is to put Jesus first. So when you say, Jesus, I will follow you first. But you don't have a but first. John Newton made a lot of money selling other human beings. He made a lot of money in the slave trade. John Newton was a person who went to Africa and captured people in Africa and brought them to other countries so that they could be sold into slavery. Newton had a good gig going on, making lots of money. But the Spirit of God got a hold of him. And he came to realize that a follower of Jesus Christ certainly would not take advantage of another human being, particularly by selling them into slavery. Newton changed his life around, and he gave up. He didn't say to Jesus, I'm going to follow you, but first I got to sell these 100 slaves. He stopped. He turned around. He changed his life. How? By the grace of God. Same way we can change our life still today is by the grace of God, by listening. Newton wrote a song that is in our hymnal. It's hymn number 378. I invite you to join together in his song where he said, no more but first, but now with you, Jesus. Amazing grace.